Yeah, that sounds like a fire truck. Yep. Different video this week about elderberries, and we might get to that. It may be later in the video, but we are actually on day 2 of no power, and I never realized the difference in having no power in the summer when it's 90 degrees and in the winter. In the winter, I don't worry about my freezers as much as I do today, and we might even go, if it doesn't get on today, I'm fine with today. This will be the second day. But if it's any longer, we'll go borrow a generator and get them frozen back so they'll last a couple more days. We don't know exactly what's going on with power line. A big storm came through yesterday, and the main thing here now is taking care of the animals. The water, of course, is not running, so our shop that's on another road does have power, so we'll be pumping water from there. The boys have gone and got our big sorghum 55-gallon drums and are putting water in them right now to get the cows water. And as long as we keep the cows happy where they're at, they will not realize that their fence doesn't have any power in it. We can tie the horse out. The horse gets tied out every day, so that's not a big deal. Thankfully, in the shower house, I had left a 55-gallon, not a 55-gallon, just probably 25-gallon drum of water. I had emptied the big 55-gallon one off the back porch just because it was in the way and it was summertime, and anyway, I do have that one, so flushing toilets is going to be just fine. I still have water in jars for brushing teeth and drinking water and things like that. And like I said, it's just a couple miles down the road where we do have power at the shop, to where if we need to go get fresh water for those things. But just a little bit of a crazy thing going on. Of course, the house is going to get hot, but we don't normally turn the air conditioner on until after lunch anyway. And it's just different with it being so hot, and the freezers. Those are my big concern. I've got them all covered up with, what are they? I won't say knapsacks, sleeping bags. So they're all insulated again with the sleeping bags, and you can tell that they're really still nice and cold, so we're not even going to peek inside of them. We're just going to keep them covered until we get a generator or until the power comes back on. So right now I am just doing some very badly needed weeding here, and trying not to get too dirty because I can't even wash my hands. So, or I don't want to waste water to wash my hands, in other words. So anyway, so let's get going. I don't know if you can hear it, but already off in the distance here, right in this area where the power's off, the sirens are already going off. Guys, have you got your loved ones taken care of? Elderly can't handle this heat. There's not even a fan. They're actually coming from both directions, the sirens. Yeah, that sounds like a fire truck. Yep. But we have first responders in our neighborhood, so they would be coming with a fire truck if it was a person, and it could be any other kind of emergency that happens when there's no water. Like, don't start a outside fire to cook your food unless you're really, really safe, because you can't pump water to put it out. So I'm sure I'll be hearing later what that was. Things are getting real, folks. Just little things you can do to get prepared. You got small children, you got a stash of milk somewhere for them, or snacks, anything like this day and time, you have to be prepared. I am not seeing any smoke on the horizon, so I'm doubting a structure fire, but that is the second alarm I've heard go off. So you know, we're okay. We can survive. That little house up there's got my wood stove in it. We can cook just fine. I just don't want to open the refrigerator. But anyway, be prepared. This was it wasn't a great big storm either yesterday that caused all this. And it can happen anywhere. So for those that don't think they don't need to prepare for anything, I don't care if you just live in an apartment. Apartment's probably one of the places I would least want to be, just because your resources, I can come out here and I can still work. Your resources are so limited, and you can't save big 55-gallon drums of water, but you can you some, put it in your pantry. The Righteous has got them 100 gallons of water and some corn. So, and the good girls are staying right in their pasture where they're supposed to. So they're getting them some candy right now in the form of corn stalks from Papa's garden. So he's throwing them everywhere. So one's thinking, oh, she's got the best one. Oh, she's got the best one. She's got the best one. So they'll run the other one off. Here comes the little ones now. They've really not been completely without water, so they're not running to it.
Oh, they're not out.
We just got to keep them content where they are today. They say we're probably going to be without power for the rest of the day. So Miracle, you just got home, and
I went back to civilization to go to work this morning at 5 o'clock. I had to take my toothbrush to work with me and brush my teeth in the work bathroom.
So what were you saying about my freezer?
So when I came out here, I thought we had resorted to building a bunkhouse out on the back porch because it was too hot to sleep in the house.
So that's my freezer.
I didn't know what the chair was for.
Well, what it is I got the sleeping bags on the freezer, but the sun was coming around the corner, and so the chair that's hooked to the top of the refrigerator is putting shade on that side. So anyway, the power has just come back on. So we're going to do an unveiling of the freezer and see if there was any thawing after about 24 hours. So I don't know what she didn't like about my setup here.
That's ridiculous.
Hooked onto the fridge here.
Ridiculous. Oh God.
So we're going to take this down.
Yeah.
See how much sun's on this corner, and it's just hot. But it's nice and cool under these quilts. Okay, we're going to uncover the chest freezer. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be all thawed out, or do you think it's going to look kind of the same? And we're fixing to open it to see. Okay, this is 24 hours. There's still ice. Everything is still solid as a rock. Oh, the wind's blowing everything down. Everything is completely solid as a rock. You can see on this corner where the sun was, the ice has pulled away just a little bit. That's the most thawing. So they tell you that if you just leave it closed, leave it sealed, it will be fine for 3 days. And with this being 24 hours later, I am really thinking that's exactly true. Here's tomatoes we just put in here. Chicken, we got blueberries. Still got ice on them. The ice here is solid. So that is, I'm tickled with that. I am really tickled with that. I was worried that by the end of the day we probably needed to go get a generator. But I see that our freezer, it is 90 degrees, will be just fine. This is 24 hours, and I'm sure that it will be fine tomorrow too. So that's exciting. Now this is chest freezer. Let's check the little upright. This is our old refrigerator out on the back porch. Yes, I know it's the weird thing to have your refrigerator on the back porch. Big story about that. But we're not going to tell it today. But we're going to look inside this upright. Now, upright freezers do not freeze as good as chest freezers do. So let's check this out. Okay, here is one of those now it is half frozen. It is half frozen. Water. It's starting to thaw out. Okay, let's see. Let's check an ice tray. Ice tray. Yep, it's starting to thaw out. So that's very true what they say, guys. That your upright freezers, your side-by-sides, just do not keep things as cold. Everything in here is absolutely fine. It's still frozen. It's still frozen. Those are the fresh blueberries I just put in here. They're still frozen. They were just starting to thaw. So 24 hours later, upright freezer did not do as well as the chest. The chest, you could not even tell it was freezing, defrosting, but you can on the upright.
What'd y'all do, boys?
Well, we went and borrowed a generator, but the power was out and it don't run, so we thought we'd get it running for him. And so we're going to get it running anyway.
Whose is it? So that's how bartering's supposed to work, or borrowing is supposed to work. When you take it back, it should be in better shape than it was when you first got it.
Well, with all that went on for the past couple of days, the power is definitely on, but we did learn a few things. So I wanted to bring you 5 things that I think we should brush up on that might help you, that we learned while the power was out. And this is when it's 90 degrees in the summer. Usually I only worry about these things in the wintertime, and that's when the power goes out. But it's a whole different story when it's in the summertime. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you was these lamps are perfect in the wintertime. They give off a little bit of heat, but like I've told you before in other videos, they're not good to carry around. And this is how much of this candle we used in one evening. Little cheapo carrier to put your finger in. It was so nice to have this to go back and forth wherever you needed to go. And it has the little drip pan down here. So this was just perfect, lightweight, and we do not have little children. So this was just perfect for us. And there's all different kinds. This is just another kind, and I just put a new candle in it. But the thing was, I knew exactly where these were, and where the no, I was going to say batteries, not the batteries, but where the matches were. Now we did have little flashlights, but you're talking about a whole evening, and you just can't stand there and hold a flashlight all evening. And other people have told me that to use your outdoor lights, your little solar lights that go along your pathway, those are good things to have too. And we just don't have any of those right now. So comparatively speaking, from the lamp to these, see, it stayed light longer. It's summertime. So we didn't really need these. And I learned that I had my books, and one candle, if I was close to it, was enough to read by. So each person in the family had their own little candlestick, and they could read or do whatever that gave us time to read. And I had my stack. I was going to write letters anyway, and I already had this out, so it was just enough light to do that. So that was the first thing. The second thing was, we have a little story and a half, and it was absolutely too brutal for the kids to go upstairs and spend the night up there. It was just too hot. There is good insulation up there, but without any fans. The windows were open, but without any fans, it was just impossible. So they crashed on the sofa and the chairs in the living room. So that was the second thing. Third thing is the refrigerator and freezer. And I showed you earlier how the deep freeze did great. So we went and checked the other deep freeze, and it did just as well as the one on the back porch, and it's in a building. So I did cover it up extra, and it did just as well. So everything in there was as solid as a rock. So I would tend to believe, they said that you can use a deep freeze is fine for 3 days. So I know mine was going to stay frozen for 2 days. So 3 days, it would have been okay. But we're going to have to figure out something on the refrigerator. We couldn't open the refrigerator. We couldn't get no food out to eat. I even had medicine in there. So that was a little... Just in the wintertime, you don't even think about that. You open it up, it's cold outside. Well, you know, our refrigerator's on the back porch. It's cold outside, don't worry about it, and just close it back up. But that was a big deal We didn't touch the refrigerator. And the upright freezer, as you saw, didn't do quite as good. It was okay, but I think it would have been fine for 2 days. Where the deep freezer would have been good for 3 days, the upright freezer would have just been okay for 2 days. Let's see, the fifth thing is water. I was so tickled that I had left that big ugly trash can in my shower house with water in it, and we were able to flush the commodes. You couldn't, that's the only thing it was for, really, is flushing commodes. If we didn't need to water the animals, the goats, that would have been plenty of water to water them with. It just so happens they were already full. We did have to go over to the shop and get the big containers, as you saw, to water the cows. And the shop, which is only 2 miles away, is on a different power company, grid, everything. Now, before a hurricane has come through and knocked out everything, so we would have had to go further for water. But I'm thankful we got the big 55-gallon drums, but that's making me think, oh, we need to keep them full of water, I just don't want them on my back porch. That's, you know, and they're not safe. If a child falls in a 55-gallon drum of water, they could drown, and we're all about safety around here, as safe as you can be on a farm. So, and a couple little things, those were my big points, but a couple little things was, I noticed everybody froze. I went ahead and went out, and I wanted to freeze and like, oh, what do we do the next day? But then I decided I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not going to get as hot and sweaty to where I need to take a big bath or anything, but I did go out and weed and did my chores and everything. But I noticed everybody in the neighborhood froze, where normally they're dueling for who can get their yards mowed the fastest. Not a lawnmower was hurt. You could not hear a lawnmower. And my husband was like kind of just sitting around. I said, are you going to go to work? Yeah. Well, but he was doing other things. He did bring a generator from the neighbors who lived on that other power grid. And he did get it running and took it back. And then the guy tried to pay him for fixing it. But now it's ready if either one of us need it. So that was kind of funny how everybody well, the power's out, let's just sit around and watch for it to come on. That was kind of funny. And to conclude this, I'll tell you what happened with the fire department. You saw the fire truck go by, and I was right. It did have everything to do with the power going out. Somebody parked their generator beside their house. Their house had all the windows and doors open, and their carbon monoxide detector, which is battery powered. Remember, your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide testers are battery powered, and it went off, and sure enough, the fire department came, measured it, and they did have high levels. And that could have easily been taken care of by just, I guess maybe they didn't have cords enough to get it away from the house. But I never thought about that, you know, just having it going right outside your window. But that could have been real dangerous for the family, especially if it had been at night and the kids have already gone to bed. And thankfully, they did have the carbon monoxide testers, and were able to, everything was just fine. But that is, I never thought about that. And not putting it close to the house. We have long drop cords, so I just never thought about that. So anyway, that was our 2 days of being without power, and it was a great learning experience. My jarred water, the jarred water that I had, like when you're doing even if you're doing your water bath cannon or your pressure cannon and you don't have enough jars to fill up your canner, stick a jar of water in there. That water is sterilized. Then you have water to brush your teeth and wash your face. Really, really clean water that you cook with. The other thing was I couldn't cook In the wintertime, I'd have cooked on my wood stove in the living room. Well, I couldn't do that. It's too hot. But we do have a stove up at the bunkhouse that I would have gone up there and cooked with, but I couldn't get into the refrigerator, and I wasn't going to dare open the freezer. So that was, those are things that happen in the summertime that don't happen in the wintertime. So I hope this helps. I hope it gives you some ideas. If you guys have any ideas for us of what we could have done better, or better ideas of getting prepared, especially I didn't go over anything with if you had small children. I think if my children would have been smaller, we'd have thrown them outside in a tent. And so they'd have been cool and wouldn't have to worry about that, but they were too stubborn. They were going to sleep on the couch, so it was fine. We had doors open and everything, so that was good. And but maybe some ideas about small children, and not. I'm trying to think of things to do where you don't have to desert your home. I don't think that's the best thing to do. Is to panic and leave. And we had no idea when the power was going to come back on, and we would have been to just fine for at least another day, but I did not have enough drinking water. And so that is something I'll be canning next week. That's something that's going in the canner. So got any ideas? Guys, just share them with us. We love you. We appreciate you being here. If you haven't before, if you're new, please like and subscribe. It really helps us. Our little channel is growing, and we're real excited about it, and we're just really blessed that you're here with us. So we'll see y'all later.